You're at home. A wildfire is headed your way, and you decide to evacuate. But what happens if you get caught in a traffic jam on the way out, or the fire blocks the road? You're looking at my experience from 2009. I'm not going to make today's video to share general evacuation principles because you can find that information anywhere. My intent is to present ideas that might be new to you and to provide you with a process that could be helpful in real life. This is nothing official and probably not original. It's just a list I put together today based on my training and experience. To help us in this discussion about how to handle situations like mine, I'll share 10 points of consideration. Remember, these are just things to consider. I'm not telling you to do anything, even though I may phrase it that way. Consider the material I'm presenting, and if you think it's inaccurate, ignore it. If you think it's useful, well, that's great. Just remember that other people have different training and experiences, so it stands to reason they will have different opinions. Consideration 1. The goal is to survive, not evacuate. If the best way to survive is to evacuate, then do it. But what happens if your escape route gets blocked? If your number one goal is to evacuate, then your brain will automatically filter out other options that may have a higher chance of survival. If your eye is on survival, you are better prepared to make better decisions as your circumstances change during your evacuation. Begin with your home and identify any areas that might be survivable in case you cannot evacuate. Consider the limitations of each area. For example, a pool might provide some protection, but it doesn't give you cool air to breathe. A structure could be a survivable area, but if it catches on fire, then it becomes a temporary area. A car parked in a clearing might work. There is a lot that could be considered, but that is beyond what I can cover in just a few minutes. 3. Plan your evacuation route. Drive the route slowly, make observations. Use Bing Maps and Google Earth to get a different perspective. What are areas that are most likely to have traffic? Are there any alternate routes? Are there areas along your route that might be suitable for refuge? I'll use refuge as a term to describe an area that you can use to survive when escape is not possible. A place of refuge might be smoky, but should protect you from most heat. But if the fire is more intense than you expected, what you thought was a good refuge area might not be so good, and you might receive burns. Even in that case, if you receive minor burns but survive, your refuge area did its job. Remember that an area of refuge isn't your preferred area, it's an area of last resort that is survivable. The key to understanding this is you don't want to pass up a great area of refuge only to get caught by fire on the road in an area that is not survivable. Consideration 4. Identify the most dangerous areas along your route. Take note of areas of heavy brush or timber that are clearly not survivable if you get stuck in those areas. Plan on hurrying through those areas. Another area to avoid are drainages. Inturns are where the road goes in and out of a drainage, and outturns are where the road goes around a spur ridge. Inturns channel heat and fire through them, so you need to avoid getting trapped in these areas. 5. Visualize your options. Here are 3 options I want you to think about if your route becomes blocked. There may be more, but these are a good place to start. Considering these options ahead of time will help speed your decision making in the moment. Option 1. Picture yourself coming to a wall of abandoned cars and imagine your thought process as you prepare to leave your car and continue on your original route on foot. Option 2. Picture yourself coming to some obstacle like fire or a downed tree and think about how you would get to that refuge area you previously identified in consideration 3. Will you drive or will you walk? Can you get there before the fire reaches you? What if you come across law enforcement who insists you follow the crowd? Option 3. Picture yourself in a car stuck in traffic with the fire only moments away. You look around and realize you are not in a drainage, there is less vegetation along that stretch of road, and you decide that staying in your car is your best option. What things can you do before the fire reaches you? Visualize your departure. Let's call making the decision to evacuate your trigger point. What is your trigger point? Are you waiting for a knock on the door from the police that may not ever come? Are you waiting until you see smoke? Your trigger point can change depending on a number of things, but have a clear idea of what you are looking for so that you don't waste time trying to figure out whether or not you need to leave. Once your trigger point is reached, move without delay. The goal is to get on the road before your neighbors. Part of visualizing your departure is identifying what will slow you down. Are you wasting time looking for a dog leash? Then keep an extra one by the door. Are you searching for your cat? Determine ahead of time how much time you're going to spend looking for your cat. You may need to leave without her. Make the decision ahead of time, as hard as it is. Preparing for this mentally now will help you in the moment. Consider the clothes you're going to wear. Avoid synthetic fibers, choose natural fibers. Wear long sleeves and long pants. Dress in layers, even if it's hot. Find a face covering. The less skin you have exposed, the better off you'll be if things go wrong. Put your phone in your pocket or purse, along with a bottle of water if you have time. If you need to quickly jump out of your car, you may not have time to grab anything. The previous 6 considerations should be made well before you need to evacuate. Now imagine the day has arrived, the smoke column is building, and you're on your way out, but something goes wrong. Your route is blocked. Quickly assess the situation and run through your options. Where is the fire? What direction is it moving toward? If you continue on foot, how long will it take you to travel the original route? How close is the nearest area of refuge, if any? Could your current location serve as a survivable area? Even though teaching fire behavior is beyond what I can share in just a few minutes, you should know that under extreme conditions, your flame lengths may be 10 times your vegetation height. Imagine what that would look like if the wind bent those flames in your direction. Once you've made your assessment, make your decision. The paradox is, the more training you have, the more you're aware of what it is you don't know, and this lack of information can paralyze your decision making. Remember that you will never have complete information. All you can do is make the best decision with the information you have, with the time you have. No one can second guess you. Once you make your decision, act quickly, act decisively. 8. What to do if you stay in your car. Let's say you end up riding out the fire in your car. Cars don't burn well from the outside in, so there's a good chance your car will remain intact if you were able to pick a good area. Keep your AC on, make sure the air is recirculating, not venting from the outside. Block the windows with heavy cloth or some other material. Even though cars can offer protection, if the car does catch fire, you'll need to prepare to leave it. Plan ahead. Look outside and pick the area that you'll go to if you have to leave your vehicle because it catches on fire. If the surrounding vegetation is light enough, hopefully the outside atmosphere will have cooled off a little by the time you need to leave. In my situation, I thought my truck was on fire. It was extremely hot, there was smoke in the cab, and I could smell plastic burning. My rational action was to put on additional layers to prevent burns once outside of the truck, and put anything I needed in my pockets. Then I picked my spot on the road, away from the downhill side. I was going to stay in the shelter of the truck as long as possible. Fortunately, the truck wasn't on fire, and I never had to leave it. 9. Last resort survival. If you need to leave your vehicle when you're surrounded by fire, or you are on foot and you get trapped by fire, last resort survival is a term that refers to the most important actions you need to take. There are a couple of pages that can be found online by searching for IRPG. I'm not sharing the full list here, just a few things that come to mind. The most important thing is to protect your lungs and airway. Try to find a place with less vegetation and not in the middle of the road where someone might run you over. You won't be visible in the smoke. Lay face down, shielding your face with your hands. Don't put anything wet over your mouth. If you've dressed in layers, you'll be better protected. If you start to feel like you're burning, remember that heat rises, so if you stand up, the conditions are going to be worse. Since you're laying down, the side toward the ground is well protected from burns. This isn't fun to think about, but by laying down and protecting your airway, you have a much better chance of survival. Consideration 10. Psychological impact and the experience. Being surrounded by fire is a terrible experience. If you start to burn, it'll be painful, but the pain begins even before your skin starts getting damaged. You might think you're toast, and later realize your burns aren't nearly as bad as you thought. As burns become more severe, the pain will eventually decrease. Don't focus on the pain. Focus on protecting your lungs and airways, and keep something in your mind to help you stay calm, such as thoughts of a living family member that you want to see again. If you think it's hopeless, block out those thoughts and protect your airways. In all of these situations, it's okay to be afraid, and it's okay to panic a little. I remember listening to audio of a young new pilot crash land, and while you could hear some panic and fear in her voice, she was very much in control of herself and made good decisions, and she survived. Keeping calm in an emergency is not the end-all be-all. I've often seen people who kept calm in bad situations, but their decision making was terrible. Keeping calm does you little good if you make bad decisions. Yes, keep calm, especially if you have kids with you, but keep problem solving, keep making the best decisions you can from moment to moment. In conclusion, a lot of what you just heard requires your own judgment and decision making. It can be easy to feel overwhelmed because there are an infinite number of decisions you might face that you're not equipped to make, but nobody really is. The reality is, things may go wrong during an evacuation, so don't avoid the topic. This video might be one step you can take that'll help you prepare for an evacuation.